Hey everyone, welcome. I saw Darkbreaker did this video about the new items, and the video came from a guy called Chow's channel. I'd recommend that you go and follow Chow's channel. I've already subscribed to him. I'm going to give him a little thumbs up as well. I've already subscribed to him. He clearly has access to Chinese assets and Chinese leaks, and he's translating them on his channel as well, so he'll probably be a really good person to follow if you want to see what's upcoming in Wild Rift. And of course, if there's anything that needs analyzing, I'm sure that I'll be able to do it. Darkbreaker has already done a video on this. I'll link both of those videos in the description below. Darkbreaker's got a good mind for the game, so he'll obviously have a good opinion on a lot of these items. My opinion is coming from League of Legends, so I know League of Legends PC really well, so I know what these items are used for. And so therefore can kind of tell you how they're going to be applied in the game as well. And of course, thanks to G2A for sponsoring the channel. There's a reference link in the description below. Let's get into the video. I was about to say Gideo. Let's get into the video. Wits End. Pretty old school item from League of Legends. It is it's like an attack speed based anti-magic damage item. You get 45 attack speed, you get 50 magic resist, so you get quite a lot of magic resist, and all of your attacks deal bonus magic damage on hit. You'll also get healed when you're below 50% HP for the on-hit damage that your Wits End deals, 100% for melee and 33% for range. The damage from Wits End on hit scales with level, as far as I'm aware, and so it will go from 15 at level 1, obviously, all the way up to 80 at level 15. You'll never get level 1, unless you're in the practice tool, you'll never get 15 damage level 1 on hit. This item is primarily used by attack speed carries when facing lots of magic damage. Vayne makes good use of this, especially versus lots of magic damage. 45% attack speed. Vayne is pretty much entirely dependent on having a good attack speed, so it's a great item for her. As the subtitles say, it's good for Jax if you're into an AP matchup, Master Yi if you're into an AP matchup, Tryndamere if you're into an AP matchup. Any champion, usually an AD champion that focuses on using basic attacks, so any champion that consistently uses their basic attacks and is going into a heavy AP matchup, that is what Wits End's used for. You might ask about Diana. Usually Nash's Tooth is better for Diana. You're less focused on just your basic attacks. You are more someone that likes to weave in your abilities as well, and you don't get any AP from this item. So it's worth noting that if you're trying to build this on an AP champion, you don't get any AP from it. So it's not a particularly good item in that regard for AP champions, but it is good for champions that rely on attack speed to be good. Because of course it doesn't give any AD either. You get AD supplemented by having magic damage on hit, so you are massively benefited by having a high attack speed. So any champion that has a high attack speed that will benefit from having the on hit damage, also going into heavy AP compositions. It's pretty solid on someone like Jinx even, but I wouldn't say that it's regularly built on Jinx. But there aren't that many good anti-AP items in the game, so Wits End's offering a good anti-AP option. Okay, so Essence Reaver, a little different, slightly different to the PC variant. It gives you 40 attack damage, 25% crit, and 25 ability haste. It adds damage to your abilities based on your critical rate. And something that isn't translated here is it also restores mana when you basic attack something. So you get mana restoration from Essence Reaver, and your abilities will deal extra damage based on your critical rate. It's very good for caster type AD carries or caster type physical damage dealers. Lucian, as put here, Xayah. It's not a bad item on Ezreal either. It's actually pretty solid on Ezreal. It really buffs up his Mystic Shot damage as well. So Essence Reaver is an item that will increase your ability damage based on the critical strike rating that you've got, and will also restore mana to you too. So it's a really good item that is filling a niche that is currently unfilled in Wild Rift, and it's going to make champions like Lucian, Xayah, even Ezreal, any caster-focused AD carry, Misfortune, for instance, any caster-focused AD carry and caster-focused AD champion that relies on mana especially, they're going to get a lot of value out of this item. It's actually pretty good on people like Fiora as well, for instance. So it's going to be a really cool item. It fills a niche that's currently unfilled. It's going to massively boost some AD carries' power values. And also it opens up critical strike build paths for champions that would otherwise like massively rely on like the Blade of the Ruin King paths. This opens up better critical strike build paths for your champions. It also means you don't have to build 3 useless attack speed items in order to achieve high levels of critical strike. Now you can have Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge, and that's a really nice 2-item combo to get a good amount of critical strike, but also be extremely powerful. And you can usually have 1 attack speed item to complement that for a very strong 3-item power spike. So remember this: Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, one of the many strong attack speed items like Static Shiv or Rapid Fire Cannon or Phantom Dancer, for instance. One of those, and you've got a really strong 3-item power spike, 75% crit with a load of attack damage. That is going to make a lot of AD carries, a lot of physical damage dealers very, very strong. So Stormrazor coming's an interesting one. We haven't seen Stormrazor in the main League of Legends game for quite some time. It gives a small amount of attack damage. It gives you 25% crit and 20% attack speed, a bit of a jack of all trade items, and has the same energized style of passive that you'll see on things like Rapid Fire Cannon and Static Shiv. Moving and basic attacking generates energized stacks. When you are 100 energized stacks, your next basic attack damage is going to deal bonus magic damage on hit that scales with level. And when you deal that basic attack, it will slow the enemy for 1 second by 75%. Very, very good on pretty much a lot of champions, honestly. It's a pretty solid AD carry item if you're looking to be a bit more aggressive. Unfortunately, it doesn't provide you with many great stats for AD carry, but it is an AD carry item that can help be more catch orientated. As it's mentioned here, this is a good item for Graves. Stormrazor Graves always was a relatively popular build, but it is an item that I think can be pretty popular. For instance, if we ever get Caitlyn, Stormrazor used to be a pretty solid item for Caitlyn because of her massive attack range. It's also good at kind of alleviating AD carries that have pretty bad mid-game spikes. So people like Tristana, even people like Jinx may make use of this item, but it's about optimizing and saying whether Stormrazor is better than other items. But what I would say is that, Infinity Edge plus Stormrazor, it's a pretty nice 2-item combo for a lot of AD carries in the game. And also, for a melee champions, this is actually going to be good on Tryndamere and Master Yi, for instance, because it adds a little bit of your ability to chase down the enemy target whilst providing stats that you value, like attack damage, critical strike, and attack speed. 75% slow for 1 second is 1 second where you're going to continue to basic attack the enemy. With champions like Master Yi and Tryndamere that struggle to stick to people consistently, this is a nice item for them and may help them become a little more meta. Where are we going now? Have I missed anything? Seryldas Grudge. 40 attack damage, 15 ability haste. You get the Last Whisper armor penetration, and dealing ability damage or enchanted basic attacks can slow affected units by 30% for 1 second. It's a utility item that if you don't need healing reduction, you can still get armor penetration. Really love it. Great addition to the game. Gives you the ability haste as well, which is super nice. This is good for any kind of attack damage dealer that is going up against lots of armor, but there isn't any need for healing reduction. So you don't need to buy Executioner's Cooling because they don't really have much healing. This is going to be a much better offering for you from the Last Whisper purchase. And it says good for Ezreal, but honestly, it's good for pretty much anyone. But yes, it is good for Ezreal. Let's say that you go the Triforce build path on Ezreal, but you really want to have that slowing ability, then Seryldas Grudge can actually get you that instead of having to go down the Iceborne Gauntlet pathway. But remember, it's a great alternative armor penetration option if there is no healing on the enemy team and you want to have that slowing ability to help kite. It's pretty good on a lot of AD carries, honestly, but you've got to remember that you need to deal ability damage. So, it's a good one for like Lucian, but it's a good one for like Azaya, but it's not going to be as good for you if you're playing a pure basic attack focused AD carry like a Jinx, unless you're having an enhanced basic attack, which is, I'm guessing it's something that would combo well with Stormrazor, for instance, but you'd get a massive slow of Stormrazor. So you just be aware that it is something that requires you to deal ability damage to make it work. All right. Navori Quickblades. 45 attack damage, 25% crit, and 15 ability haste. Critical strikes reduce your basic abilities cooldowns by 15% of their remaining cooldowns. This is pretty crazy, by the way. If you're going down a caster-orientated build, so, like I say, this is really solid for Tryndamere, very good for Lucian, as it's put here. It's very good for Master Yi. Like, if you're building critical strike into your build path and you're someone that relies on abilities either for gap closing or for dealing damage, this is a really, really insane item to pick up. Obviously, you get diminishing returns because the lower your ability cooldown, the lower that 15% is going to be. But overall, like, it is super, super good. And I envision this is going to be used on things like, even Ezreal with the Arcane Shift cooldown wanting to come down. You can see it lose on Lucian. Xayah, it's a really good item for Xayah to get constant feather recalls, for instance. It's great for Graves. It's great for Tryndamere, for Master Yi. Any physical damage dealer that goes down a critical strike build path that relies on abilities, Navori Quickblades is a great item. There is a lot of insane options for AD carries coming up over the next patch. I'm very excited for this patch. Staff of Flowing Water, 65 ability power, 350 mana, 20 ability haste. Healing or shielding allied champions grants you and them 20 ability haste for 4 seconds. 20 abilities and 20 to 40 ability power for 4 seconds. It's a nice enchanter support item that fills a niche, especially when you are trying to maximize the amount of cooldowns that you're cycling through. It's great for things like Sona, Soraka, Seraphine, Janna, Nami, Lulu, any enchanter support that enjoys having extra AP to buff themselves up and a bit of ability haste. It's a nice item. It's probably going to complement a build path with things like the Harmonic Echoes build paths nicely. It's also a good option should you not want to go Ardent, for instance. Like, Ardent is very specific for attack speed AD carries. Let's say you don't have anyone that would massively benefit from Ardent. Staff of Flowing Water would be a good option as well. It's just a really solid, like, enchanter support item that adds a lot to the game because it's a lot of ability power as well. So, that's a decent chunk of ability power that you'll get for this item. I think those are all the major ones. Okay, so Seeker's Arm Guard, 30 armor, and 25 ability power. Essentially, it's just a good anti-AD mage item, which we never had, and obviously with AD mids being relatively strong right now, I don't know if it builds into anything. Oh, it builds into that thing. I've forgotten what that thing is. Give me a second. Yeah, it's Crystalline Reflector. Have I skipped over Crystalline Reflector here? Crystalline Reflector is an anti-AD mage item, and it builds up crystal shards that allow you to defend against incoming damage. It's like an anti-AD assassin item. It's going to be pretty strong, I think, and it builds out a Seeker's Arm Guard, which used to build into Zhonya's in League PC, but obviously they don't have that stasis enchant is now built into your boots, so you don't need to build Seeker's Arm Guards out of that. But it's a good little early, if you're in the laning phase and you want to protect yourself against early AD threats, then Seeker's Arm Guard is the way to go. Solari Chargeblade, 25. Oh my god, there are so many crit items. It's actually not. Do we need this many crit items? Bloody hell. Critical Strike, 30% attack speed, 25 ability haste. So already pretty crazy. Using an ability grants a stack of Radiance, up to 3 stacks, that lasts for 10 seconds. If energized, it will gain 25% crit. I'm guessing energized means off one of the other items, unless it just means if you've got the 3 stacks. So you get 3 stacks, you'll gain another 25% crit if you've got 3 stacks. Dealing critical strike will reduce a stack, causing the attack to deal 26 to 40 extra true damage, and the damage to low health champions increases up to 250. This item seems absolutely nutty broken, by the way. The only thing that it doesn't bring to you is AD. So that's what you're going to have to be aware of, that this is an item that is very similarly going to be in the vein of one of your attack speed based items. But let Essence Reaver plus Infinity Edge plus Solari Chargeblade, like, that is going to be bloody disgusting, mate. Then add a Stormrazor on top, like, you've got 100% crit, and then you're constantly dealing true damage. It's going to be nutty. Like, this item's going to be so insane on anybody that is, again, Lucian, Xayah, Ezreal, any ability-focused AD champions. AD champions look like they're going to be busted next patch. Like, they really do. There wasn't many AP items offered here, but I think there was already a relatively decent amount of AP items in the game. Where is Banshees, by the way? We need bloody Banshees Veil. Okay, here we go. Here's Crystalline Reflector. 45 armor, 60 ability power, 15 ability haste. Casting an ability grants a stack of Mirror Shard, up to 3 stacks. Each Mirror Shard can block 10 plus 5 from enemy physical damage and deal 20 plus 10% magic damage. So, 10 plus 5% scaling with AP. So 10 plus 5% of your AP physical damage. So you can get up to 30% plus an individual 5% on each shard, and deal 20 plus 10% of your AP magic damage. Does that mean that Wits End scales with AP, by the way? I'm going to have to go back and have a look at this. No, Wits End doesn't scale with AP. That's fine. I thought I saw that. So basically, it grants you a huge amount of physical damage reduction, which, let's say you've got 200 AP. So that's what? 10. So 200 AP is 10. You could get up to 60% physical damage reduction with just 200 AP. Then you get Rabadons, you're looking in the realms of like nearly like 350 AP. So you're looking upwards of like 15% per shard stack. I'm sure this is going to have to get nerfed, because let's say that you just get to 200 AP, which isn't that hard to get to realistically, and you're going up against an AD assassin, you've got 3 shards. That AD assassin is going to do nothing to you, and you're also then going to deal a ridiculous amount of magic damage back to them for every time they get a shard procced. This item, I think, is going to be relatively broken, but it's going to be great for any immobile, mage. It's going to suddenly turn mages. It's going to turn matchups around that shouldn't have been turned around. Like Zed into immobile mages should have always been a good matchup for Zed, but this item alone is going to turn that matchup into nigh on impossible to win. So this is going to be an absolute... And I actually envision like enchanter supports that get focused down by AD assassins picking up this item. The real losers of this patch are AD champions that don't build crit. So Yasuo is a champion that actually benefited from a lot of these pickers. I forgot to mention Yasuo, but he's a champion that has benefited from a lot of these items. The real losers are things like Pantheon and Zed, and any caster or AD champion that doesn't classically build crit. The question is whether these ability based items will entice those types of champions to build crit. Like we might start seeing Zed crit builds coming out. You never know. But those people, if you just base it on traditional build paths, are the biggest losers here. Everyone else is a winner. Critical strike based champions are massive winners. Attack speed champions are massive winners. Mages have got a tool to deal with AD assassins that seems borderline OP right now. And the big losers are the people who use lethality. Like no lethality items are getting any love here. Let's go on to Prophet Pendant. 125 maximum health with 25 ability power with just giving you 15 magic penetration. Okay. It's just an item that builds into Morellonomicon, and Infinity Orb just gives you a bit of magic penetration. It's quite nice. Item adjustment. Okay, here we go. Bloodthirster. Have they reduced the AD here? They've made it cheaper, and they've given it crit, but they've reduced the AD. They've still got the physical vamp, and they're going to give you a shield. So they've given Bloodthirster some crit. How much more can critical strike people win? Oh my god. Insane, actually. That makes Blade of the Ruined King relatively obsolete for champions that really shouldn't have been building Blade of the Ruined King. Like Jinx is not really someone that traditionally builds Blade of the Ruined King. This has made Blade of the Ruined King practically obsolete. Like, this is nutty. Jinx's stock goes up this patch as well, by the way. Thornmail is getting slightly nerfed. 200 health, 75 armor. When struck by a basic attack, deal 25 magic damage and inflict grievous wounds. Immobilizing enemy champions also inflicts them with grievous wounds. Have they just nerfed it slightly? Wait, grievous wound effect changes? Grievous wounds will reduce the healing effect according to the percentage. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that... I don't know. Is it that we've... The immobilizing gives them grievous wounds? Have they taken grievous wounds off Bramblevest and shifted it to the full Thornmail? I don't know. We'll have a look. Someone might be able to tell me what this change means. 20 attack damage, dealing physical damage to enemy champions, inflict this. Oh, have they dropped it to 3 seconds from 4 seconds? Maybe it's 3 seconds. Someone can tell me the changes. It doesn't seem like they're massive from what I can see. 40% healing reduction from grievous wounds. Was it higher before? Someone in the comments let me know. I can't be bothered to go and check on Wild Rift right now. More grievous wound changes. Nothing else is changing from Mortal Reminder. It's just the... if enemy health is lower than 50%, grievous wounds effects will increase to 60%. Okay, so you'll get an increased grievous wound effect from Mortal Reminder below 50%. Cool. Same thing. Oblivion Orb. So Oblivion Orb is getting Grievous Wounds now. So you get that before you build Morellonomicon, which means, I guess, that if you're building Oblivion Orb, same thing. Grievous Wounds will reduce the healing effect. Yeah, blah blah blah. We know that, and that's the change in build path. So you no longer build Infinity Orb out of Oblivion Orb. You just build Infinity Orb out of this item, that new one. It looks like there's a Phantom Dancer item lineup change. You no longer build it out of the Crit Cloak. You build it out of these two items. So it's a slightly, yeah, okay, cool. Cool. No, that's it. That's the whole video. Right. I'll timestamp it. Let me know what you think. If you can fill me in a bit more on those Grievous Wound changes. It looks like it's just been some Grievous Wound changes to specific items. That'll be cool. Otherwise, yeah, I think it was just the extra effects on the Grievous Wound items that have been changed, but you guys can read through that yourself. It wasn't the most exciting change. Big winners, critical strike based, ability based carries, and really the big losers are lethality AD champions who didn't really get much out of this patch at all. There we go. Cool. See you soon.